So our ultimate goal with trying to solve equations, and in this case 1 and 2 step equations, is to figure out what our variable equals. We want to know what x, in this case, is all by itself. I don't want to know what 2 plus x is. I don't want to know what 2x is or 3x's plus 2x's are. I want to know what just x is. In order to do so, I need to remember my inverse operations. What does the word inverse mean? Yeah, that means doing the opposite. Meaning, if it says plus, well, what's the opposite? That's minus. If it says minus, what's the opposite? Plus. If it says multiplication, what's the opposite? We have division. And finally, if we have division, the opposite would be, multiplication. Okay, so those would be the inverse operations, and that'll make more sense in 1 second. So let's take a very basic one-step equation right here, and we have x plus 4 equals 8. Now, many of you could probably just guess and figure that out just by looking at it, but let's try to do this more mathematically. So I have x and I have plus 4, but I don't want to know what x plus 4 is. I want to know what just x is. So if it says plus 4, I need to do the inverse, and what is the inverse of addition? It's subtraction, so I say subtract 4. Now, if it said up here, plus 4, and now it says minus 4, that's like 0. They're gone. But in order to do so, I have to do the same thing to both sides. So again, some people like to see this little line down the middle. Now, I come down here and I write x because, that's all that's left over here. This is all gone. Now, 8 minus 4. What is 8 minus 4? 4. So now I've got x equals 4. The best thing about equations is that you can always go back and check your answer. Plug it back in. Take this number 4 and stick it here. Say 4 plus 4 equals 8. Now that is obviously true, so yes, that works. Now here I've got a two-step equation. I say that because there's more than one thing you need to do in order to actually solve for that variable. I can't figure out what y is all by itself because I've got 2 y's and 4 y's. So let's start putting that together. If I have 2 y's, meaning y plus y, and I now have 4 more y's, meaning y plus y plus y plus y equals 18. Now without writing out all those y's, you guys should have been able to tell me that 2 y's and 4 y's is a total of 6 y's. So now I have 6y equals 18. And again, I don't want to know what 6y is. That doesn't tell me what y is by itself. So now 6y, that means 6 times y. So in order to undo 6 times y, I need to divide by 6. Now I put that as a fraction is what that means there. 6 divided by 6 will give me just 1. Over here, I have to do the same thing to both sides, 18 divided by 6. Now, 18 divided by 6, let's get those fingers pumping. It's not 2, it's not 5, it's something else. Oh, right. It's 3, obvious. Why didn't I think of that? Y equals 3. Okay, now we go back and check. We take that number and plug it in up here and here. Now, if we were to do that, we would say that 2 times 3 plus 4 times 3 equals 18. Sorry, I'm running out of space there. Let's make sure that's true. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 4 times 3 is 12, equals 18. Does 6 plus 12 equal 18? Yes, so we were correct. So let's do a little bit of practice. I'm going to say that negative 27 equals w minus 14. Now, big trick there. I moved the variable to the other side, but that's okay. It's still the same thing. I want to get w all by itself. Now, let me ask you this. Is this a positive or negative w? You should say a positive because there's no negative sign in front of it, so it's just positive w. However, this says minus 14. Now, in order to take away that minus 14, I need to do the opposite. So if it was saying subtract 14, I need to add 14. But in order to do so, I have to do the same thing to both sides. Now I've got this right here. I've got negative 27 plus 14. Now, I'm willing to bet since we just worked on negative and positive numbers, I'm going to get a couple of different answers. But I'm going to tell you the right one right now. Negative 27 plus 14 is negative 13. And then I rewrite what is left. Negative 14 plus 14 cancels that out. Over here, negative 27 plus 14 is negative 13. So now I have w equals negative 13. I could plug that back in. I could say negative 13 minus 14 equals negative 27. And is that true? Yes. Let's do one with a fraction. This says r over negative 5 equals 10. Now, what does a fraction actually mean? That means r divided by negative 5 equals 10. So if it says r divided by negative 5 equals 10, how do I get r by itself? If I'm already dividing, I need to do the opposite, which is multiplying. I need to multiply by what, though? Not 5. I need to multiply by negative 5. And to help this make sense, negative 5 can be expressed as a fraction itself by putting it over 1. Any number over 1 is the fraction, right? And if you remember about the simplifying first, negative 5 and negative 5 would cancel each other out. That leaves me with just r over here on the left. Now, I have to do the same thing over here on the right, and I'd say 10 times negative 5. Okay, 10 times 5 we know is 50, and we have this negative sign, so we have negative 50. And we can go back and check that now. We can put this over a fraction of negative 5 and say it equals 10. Negative 50 divided by negative 5. 50 divided by 5 is 10, but since we have a negative divided by a negative, it's not a negative, it is a positive there. So it is 10. That does work. Okay, so here is a two-step equation with a negative and a fraction. And remember that when we are following these equations and we've got order of operations, that when we are undoing it, we are going backwards. We're doing the inverse. So we need to go backwards with our order of operations, meaning right here it says divide and then add, which we know that would come first and then this would be second. But when we are going backwards to solve them, we need to do this first and this second, which is going backwards from the regular order of operations. So I'm going to go ahead and do, if this says plus 6 right here, the opposite would be minus 6. And I need to do the same thing to both sides. Rewrite what I know, and that leaves me with p over negative 4 equals 10 minus 6 is 4. Now, I need to get p all by itself. P is being divided by negative 4. Okay, if it's being divided by negative 4, the opposite would be to multiply by negative 4. And again, negative 4 can be written as a fraction like this. That means that these would cancel each other out. I need to do the same thing over here because if I did it to one side, I need to do the other. That leaves me with just p equals 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. Now again, let's check and put that back in. Negative 16 over negative 4 plus 6 equals 10. Okay, negative 16 divided by negative 4 is positive 4. Plus 6 does equal 10. So it works. Awesome.